I'm Melissa Andrews.
And I'm Jeff Smith. We are streaming tonight because CBS is airing round 3 of the Farmers Insurance Open. So we want to say thank you for being with us here this afternoon.
And we begin tonight with breaking news out of South Toledo. A man is fighting for his life after he was found shot in the chest. This is all happening, breaking down right now at in the 2300 block of Eastgate. It happened sometime around 2 o'clock. Chase Bachman is joining us now live with the very latest. Chase, what do we know about this so far?
Jeff and Melissa, we're in South Toledo, where Toledo police say a man was found in a car with life-threatening injuries. They also said they found a handgun in the car, but they are not ruling this an attempted suicide. They do not know whether or not the gunshot wound was self-inflicted. Now, TPD detectives say they had a witness statement saying that they saw a man running from the car, but they're not sure if they have any suspects at this time. There's still a lot more we are finding out about this investigation. TPD has left the scene. The car has also been removed from the property, and we will continue to try to find more information as best we can. But for now, reporting in South Toledo, Chase Bachman, WTOL 11.
Chase, thanks so much. And turning to your WTOL 11 weather forecast tonight, still cold out there.
Yeah, cold. We've seen flurries throughout the area, but nothing like what they're expecting or dealing with on the East Coast. Let's check in with Chris. He's got much more on what we're expecting for this weekend and what we're already talking about for next week.
I feel like we got a lot going on over the next week, guys. It's going to start tomorrow morning with some really cold weather, but alert days that have been issued, and you would have been first to know about this one if you have that free WTOL 11 weather app that is downloaded. Have an update already waiting for you on alert days for Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Now, very early on with the details, but ice, rain, snow, wind, all going to be possible with a significant storm system. Too early to talk anything about accumulations and high uncertainty on the track. We did get a few snow showers that drifted across the area. Still seeing a couple of those on our Fifth Third Bank camera, and they were fairly persistent only over the Toledo Metro much of the afternoon. We're at 21 degrees, did manage to reach just past that 20-degree mark. And a rare situation where we actually had some lake effect snows, a little connection all the way from Lake Huron with some open cracks and fissures in the lake, allowing for some of that moisture to aid in a few of those lake effect snow showers, just a light dusting to a half an inch or so right across the Toledo Metro. From this point forward, though, we're going to see some clearing tonight, and it is going to get cold with those wind chills. Again, sub-zero wind chills will be expected. So some clearing skies means cold weather for Saturday morning. Meanwhile, an East Coast storm system. This is going to be a major whopper of a storm system up the eastern seaboard through the course of the weekend. Saturday into Saturday night could be an epic blockbuster blizzard from New York up into Boston, where they could get over 2 feet of snow. We may be served our turn next week. Let me give you an early look at that February storm system arriving late Wednesday. And it's really difficult to determine. The next couple of days still will be proving very significant with the details. Snow, ice, and rain, all a possibility at this point. We cannot determine that direct precipitation type as this storm nears. We're going to be right on what appears to be that borderline between the snow and ice. Perhaps even some rain at times, ending with some snow wrapping into this system as we get into Thursday. Just going to give you a few very basic rules right now. We're about 5 to 7 days out. We're just looking at trends. That's what we're doing here. Consistency in those trends. Over the next couple of days, we'll start to narrow in more on the specific details and impacts. Saturday is going to be a cold day. 19 degrees, more sunshine, but bitterly cold. Near zero, if not a few areas, it could be close to zero Saturday morning. 19 the afternoon high, 28 on Sunday, 32 Monday. We're quiet the next several days. Tuesday actually reaches toward 41, and then look toward this. Our alert days, highlighting the potential of that storm system next week, Wednesday into Thursday. We've got back-to-back alert days that are posted, and we'll hone in on the details of that. But it is certain beyond that system, it will turn cold again, plunging back into the teens for highs Friday and into next weekend. That's a look at your WTOL 11 10-day forecast. Melissa, back to you.
Chris, thanks. New at 5, a long-standing blighted warehouse in North Toledo is finally coming down. The city announced it will detail plans to demolish the Elm Street warehouse on Monday. That will also kick off a new demolition program in Toledo. Funding comes from the American Rescue Plan Act, targeting abandoned commercial and industrial buildings across the city.
Grant, where do you work at, bud? Not gonna answer? We're pretty sure we know where you work at, bud. We just want to make sure.
We've got an update now to a story that we first brought you last night at 11 o'clock. Assistant Lucas County Prosecutor Grant Cozy was scheduled to face a judge today after an accident that ended with him being charged with OVI. However, his attorney entered a plea of not guilty on his behalf instead. Police body cam video shows Cozy after a crash Sunday morning. TPD says he hit a pole in central Toledo. Police found him with his head down and broke the window to get his attention.
How much have you had to drink tonight, Grant? Enough. You've had enough to drink tonight? Okay. Why don't you take a seat on the curb for me right here, okay?
Cozy has been with the prosecutor's office for a little over 6 years. He's also worked at the Lucas County Drug Court. We have reached out to the prosecutor's office. We are waiting to hear back.
There's a big change for the Race for the Cure this year. Susan G. Komen, Northwest Ohio, announced there will not be a Findlay race this year. Komen says staffing issues and the pandemic contributed to the decision to hold instead one combined Northwest Ohio Race for the Cure. That will be downtown on September 25th. Komen says Findlay's race, which would have celebrated 10 years this year, was transformative and one of the top in the country.
We want to make sure that when we do host Race for the Cure, that it's impactful, it's important, and we are not forgetting about our friends in Findlay. It's a combined race. It's not one canceled and one continuing. It's a combined race.
Komen says it's still seeing a bigger need with women skipping or not being offered screenings during the pandemic. Treatable breast cancers have become a more challenging diagnosis, especially among Black, Latino, and Native Americans.
It was another encouraging day for the Buckeye State on the COVID front when it comes to hospitalizations. The total number of COVID patients dropped close to 250 to 4,528 patients. And there are now 893 COVID patients in the ICU, 595 on ventilators. Those are the lowest numbers the state has seen since late November. However, Ohio reported an additional 582 deaths today. That brought the total for the week to 1,084. This is the deadliest week of the pandemic so far for Ohio.
Free COVID-19 testing in Lucas County is no more. That's because the 2 mass testing sites are now closed. Madeline Watkins shows us why health officials made this decision.
The mission that we set out to do has been fulfilled.
And that's why the 2 mass testing sites in Lucas County are now closed. The health commissioner tells me that since January 7th, just over 6,000 people got tested between those 2 locations.
The usage of the first really week or so was we'll call it high. It never reached its full capacity.
Over at the rec center, officials were anticipating to test 1,000 people per day, but they were averaging in the low hundreds. Shortly after that location opened, the health department opened the walk-in testing site at UAW Local 12, hoping that it would be a better location for the community. Still, though, the numbers were low.
I think maybe some of the home testing that we did have out there might have lessened the amount of people going to the sites too.
This collaboration was made possible through a partnership between the Toledo Lucas County Health Department, ProMedica, and Mercy Health, as well as the Ohio National Guard. The health commissioner says thanks to this, they were able to take the pressure off the hospital systems and lower the spread of COVID-19 in the community.
We hope that, we see less and less, which I think we will here in the coming weeks, of disease in the community. So there'll be less need to test.
And he says to do that, people need to continue getting vaccinated and boosted, wearing a face mask, and washing your hands. Reporting in Lucas County, Madeline Watkins, WTOL 11.
The vaccination clinic at the rec center will continue operating on Saturdays for right now. The health commissioner says they will monitor the need in the community and go from there.
The Ohio Redistricting Commission is back in hot water. The commission was ordered to create a new legislative map after the first one unfairly tipped in one party's favor. But now that new map is also being accused of being unconstitutional, and democracy rights groups are suing the commission until they get it right. Our Michael Sandlin spoke to the leader of one of those groups who says it's about keeping elections fair.
It's time to go back to the drawing board, says Jen Miller, the executive director of the League of Women Voters of Ohio.
They were supposed to draw another one, and they did, but it still doesn't meet muster. And so we have filed an objection with the court.
The nonpartisan group says that the map submitted on January 23rd yet again unfairly favors the Republican Party, which violates the Ohio Supreme Court's order.
The lines weren't drawn to keep communities together. They were drawn really to select certain voters and guarantee outcomes for certain candidates.
The league has submitted its objections back to the Ohio Supreme Court, sending the maps back for review to determine if they need to be redrawn again. This back and forth is starting to close in on local candidates' filing deadlines, the first of which is February 2nd, and BGSU's political science professor Nicole Califf-Hughes says that this could cause serious problems.
People are getting a little bit worried because they could be trying to file for districts that are no longer going to exist. And because of the requirements and what I would consider kind of necessary for campaigning is that you be proximate to your district, we're going to run into trouble.
And Califf-Hughes says Ohio's government doesn't plan on pushing back May's primary election, which will mean even greater pressure on legislative candidates who are in the dark on what happens next or how they run without a district. However, Miller hopes that by applying this kind of pressure, it'll mean that the Redistricting Commission will create a new map that will truly meet the standards of Ohio's Constitution.
It's really important that we, the people, have the power to truly elect the people that we choose, that our votes are meaningful, rather than having maps that are rigged and therefore dilute our choice and the power of our votes.
Reporting for WTOL 11, I'm Michael Sandlin.
At this time, there is no official date for when the Ohio Supreme Court will finish its review of the objections, leaving the status of Ohio's legislative districts currently in limbo.
Finally, a heartwarming story on this Friday. A local nanny helping kids stuck in hospitals to smile one card at a time.
It's called Operation Surprise Attack. It's a nonprofit organization where people create cards for sick children in the hospital. Local nanny Lisa Fulton thought of the idea 16 years ago when her nephew was diagnosed with spina bifida. So far, more than 100 children have created thousands of handmade cards to send out all across the United States.
Lisa hopes more families with sick children become part of the Operation Surprise Attack.
A lot of our kids travel to and from treatment centers in other cities, like up at Ann Arbor for MOTS. They also go down to Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland area. And so what we try to do is we give them gas cards and we give them food cards. And then hopefully eventually once we start raising enough money, we'll be able to start helping them with medical bills or just even regular expenses that they might be having a trouble at that current time.
Much needed. And if you would like to send some warm wishes to these children, you can do that through February 28th, 1 month from today. We have more information about the children who may be receiving those cards and how you can help on WTOL.com. That's going to do it for us on this special streaming edition. Thanks so much for joining us for WTOL 11 News at 5.
Yeah, we'll be back with Charlie's Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Big Board Friday tonight at 11. You can also keep up to date on the latest breaking news and weather on our WTOL 11 Facebook page, also WTOL.com.
Have a great night.